Howdy there, nerds. I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Neverboard Gaming, and I'm a little upset at my partner here, Aaron, because he ain't wearing his Colossal Games t-shirt. Come on, show some love. What's wrong with you?
This is what we wear. We wear collared shirts, but...
Not really.
You know, I just,
Tricks!
Let's do it.
Trick or treats in here.
So when they designed Western Legends, I think they just got done beating Red Dead Redemption, and they're like, let's make this into a board game. Because this game is a very sandboxy, run around, pick up things, deliver things, collect things, sell things, play poker, epic game. And it's just like, it has that Western feel that, you know, I had nostalgia back to Red Dead Redemption because I played that 6 years ago, and I'm like, man, this is... You know, you're playing with all of these legends from the Old West. So you got like Jesse James and Billy the Kid, Calamity Jane, Wyatt Earp, Annie Oakley. You know, just all a gang of other ones that you know other people know, but those are like the most popular ones.
Wild Bill Hickok.
Yeah, so you get to play as one of these characters back in the Old West. You're just running around trying to complete.
Yeah, it's not even objectives.
It's kind of. Yeah.
It's not like there's things that people have to do. It's just things you can do. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know what the term sandbox means, it just kind of means go anywhere, do anything. Mm-hmm. The other game, Tiny Epic Quest, kind of had this type of feel of go anywhere, do anything. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a lot different from that, but because the Tiny Epics kind of have a little bit of a restriction in that when you were restricted in your movement, because there were movement cards, I can only move this way or that way or around the edge if I take that card. And they also, a lot of the different things you do, some of them felt pretty similar. Like the fighting the goblins and the advancing on the cave track, whatever, those are both just like moving up tracks, more or less. You know, it's like, I come over here, move up this track, come over here, move up on that track. Not saying that was a bad game. I'm just saying that this one feels even more do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. It's very point salad in that. The object of the game was to get the most points. Well, how do you get points? Well, you can do any of these things. And now some actually even seem more profitable than others. Mm-hmm. Getting the gold definitely seems more profitable than wrangling cattle. Yeah. But the whole idea of it being in the West is as you're gathering points and as you're doing things, you are either being a good guy or you're being a bad guy. I guess ultimately you could be neutral for most of the game, but there's a lot of stuff you do.
You're making a decision.
Yeah, it's kind of like that video game Infamous. One of the very few video games I've ever played that I could actually reference here is that the more good decisions you do, the more up this track you go. The more bad decisions you make, the more up this track you go. Mm-hmm. Now, and then you said that actually is in Red Dead Redemption, right? Okay, I haven't played it.
Yeah, you can be lawful or unlawful.
Right, which is exactly what this is here. Yeah. But like, if you get a bunch of gold, somebody can, and that's profitable, that you can get a lot of points for that. Well, somebody can come and steal it. Yeah. If you make a lot of points by being up in the wanted track, well, somebody can come and arrest you. There's no like one thing that you can do that's getting a lot of points because somebody else can come and mess your day up. And that's the whole Wild Wild West feel.
Yeah, exactly. There's no rules in the West. Oh. I mean, except for the game rules.
There's no... Yeah, they're like, what are the rules? Well, it's a Western game, so no rules. Huh.
Having that lawful and unlawful track that you can kind of swing between is kind of... It's not seen in a lot of games that I can think of, but in this game, it does seem really powerful to become wanted. At first, I'm like, every time I play a game, especially a video game where you have this like RPG style, like I'm gonna take on this personality and play. I always try and like steer towards the good. I'm like, let's just get the good ending. I want to get the best ending that I can, and that's usually how it is. Unless you're like, there's some games where it's like, oh, if you go to the really dark ending, that's a cooler ending, but. I tried to just stay on the martial side of the track, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and just do good things. I'm going to, take cows and deliver them. That'll increase me, if I'm taking them and selling them, or if I'm like, just doing things, capturing the bandits. That'll make me more positive. On the other hand, you can rob the bank and, like, get a bunch of points from that, but then you become wanted, and then everybody who is good can come arrest you. So you have, like, this... Like, okay, well, why would I do that if everybody can team up with me? The wanted track, if you're on that track, you're getting paid out the victory points every round at the end of your turn, or at the end of every turn. So, like, you can get a lot of points that way. Whereas the martial track, it's just at the end of the game you get paid out for being good. So it's more of a long con to get your dividend in a way. I mean, there are
better perks as you move up it.
You're getting money and stuff, and instead of like the wanted track, you're getting cards.
Yeah, it is. I will say it's kind of balanced in that way. You're getting money and stuff, but ultimately in the game itself, being wanted is more enticing, if that makes sense. Like, you could argue, but moving up the martial track and moving up the wanted track can kind of balance themselves out at the end of the day. You're like, yeah, but like heisting pulling a heist at the bank is a big deal. That's you're going to get a lot of points doing that.
Yep.
And being wanted for a long time, you're going to get a lot of points doing that. Being the most wanted in the game, you're going to get a lot of points for that. So the game is pushing you to be wanted so that you create that dynamic where you try and mess with other people and other people try and arrest you.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like, when somebody was wanted as a good player, I'm like, I'm going to go take that guy down. Like, I'm going to take him down a notch. Like,
not in my town.
Not in my town. Me and the sheriff are going to get you.
Yeah. There is also the fact that everybody can move the sheriff. There's a card that moves him, and sometimes the story cards will move him too. So even if you're not, I'm the bad guy and you're the good guy, even if you're still neutral, which doesn't really happen too much, you're going to jump on one of the tracks at one point, but you could still say, oh wait, this story card is going to allow me, the guy who triggered the story, to move the sheriff. So I'm going to go ahead and move him. You can only move the sheriff with that one card,
spaces.
I think. You can only move in 3 stations, but I think that one card you have to actually be on one of the tracks to use it.
Yeah, but so if you are wanted, you could send the sheriff after somebody else who's wanted and take them down a notch,
Yeah,
so that you're the most wanted.
Yeah, and actually no, the Manhunt is the card we're talking about. Move the sheriff up to 3 spaces. If you are a martial or wanted player, gain 1 point for it. Yeah. So you can still move the sheriff even if you're neutral, just to take somebody out. But yeah, it can be 2 wanted players duking it out to be the most wanted for that extra 3 points and to get the extra point for the marshal taking him over, which kind of leads me to one of the not so much a negative, because it's something that I felt and thought while playing the game. But at the end, the scores were always really close towards the end, so it's always like, it feels like it's imbalanced, but it's really not. But the idea is, whenever the sheriff comes and attacks you, if you're wanted and you get arrested by the sheriff, you lose like half your gold, you lose your cattle, you get completely off the wanted track, and you move over to the sheriff's space. Like, it's a big deal to get caught. But if you fight him off and you win that battle, you don't get anything. And I feel like you should get something, like maybe being more wanted or whatever, because in a big player game where everybody's on the martial track and you're the only one, if it's a 6-player game, everybody's on the martial track, you're the only one wanted, you're going to have to fight off the sheriff 5 times and get nothing for it. It feels like, a little imbalanced. But maybe that's just because, again, scores were really close at the end of the game, so maybe not. But also, it's because in the few games we've played, it was that dynamic of a lot of people were on the martial track, and there was only like 1 or 2 people on the wanted track. So I haven't yet seen a game where everybody's on the wanted track and nobody's on the martial track. I've only seen it skewed where, the second you're wanted, there's a lot of targets on your back and not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. So this game definitely does a really good job of fitting the Western theme. A lot of like the things you're doing feel very Western. Like, okay, I'm going mining for gold, so I'm going to go over here, I'm going to mine for gold. It's an interesting, I like the kind of like the exploding dice mechanic it has in this. I kind of compare it to that. It's like you roll, you can get money, just straight up cash, and then you can get gold nuggets, which you can store in your saddle. And there's one side of the die that you get money, and then you re-roll that die. So you can kind of like get money. Get money.
It's potential infinite. But I do like how it's only one side of the die.
Yeah. And it's not like the nugget with a reroll, because that'd be...
Yeah, that would be too good. Yeah, it's one side of the die, and it's $10, which in the game isn't that great. Mm-hmm. It's a third of a point at the cabaret.
You'd have to roll that 12 times in a row to max out your money, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So, and that is the one part, the going and digging for gold. That's the one thing that does sound, that is really strong, but you have to know how to, combat it. Like, okay... So you're going to go and just get a bunch of gold and sell it, get a bunch of gold and sell it, get a bunch of gold and sell it. Okay, well, somebody needs to rob him. It's one of those things where, I'm not saying that who's played it before has an advantage, but they should kind of sit when they're sitting down with new players. Should be like, okay, so just so you know, this is strong, and when somebody does this, it's important to try and take them down because otherwise they're going to start running away. They're not, and again, scores are close, so they're not going to run away completely. Especially when you're playing like a 25-point game. When you play a 15-point game, getting 4 points in one turn, yeah, that's a big chunk. But it is important to like keep an eye on a player who's doing this. You know what I mean? Don't not be wanted. Don't not do this. I guess it's just. I mean, there are a lot of things that push the game to have this sort of dynamic. But if people ignore that, it's a good thing to point out. Be like, look, guys, of course you can do whatever you want, but this is probably going to happen, and we don't want that to happen.
I think the other really interesting aspect of this game is your hand of cards that you get. There's definitely a lot of hand management that goes on with this because those cards it's a deck of 52 cards. There's ace, king, queen, jack, 10, 1, 2.
You know what cards are.
You know what cards are. So there's all those cards in there, but every card also has some sort of unique ability that can either be a reaction when you maybe you move, you can play the card after you move and it'll make you move further. There's cards that when you use them in battle, they'll mess with the other players. They can knock down their score or make you rebattle. Some of them just give you bonuses when you use them while playing poker, which is a cool little mini game in this game that you can trigger if you're in either one of the saloons on the two different towns. If you go in there, you're like, okay, I'm gonna play some poker. Everybody in the town can ante up, and then we just all draw an extra card and we'll just play a round of poker. It's just a really quick 5-card stud. There's a flop of 3. You pick your best 2. Boom, win some money. And also, if it's your turn and you initiated, you're getting a victory point because you're showing how legendary you are. He was so good at playing poker. That's what he's known for. Or there's also, you can go to the cabaret and just spend money on girls and booze, I guess. And
he threw the best parties.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, he's such a good partier. We're gonna remember Wilder for doing that. So you can get points from just doing these silly things, but there's also there's the battling. There's going and just mining gold, and getting that 1 point per gold nugget it's really powerful because it's a lot quicker, especially if you're using your items correctly. If you go and get yourself a Mustang, and he instantly increases your movement by to 4.
Doubles your
yeah. So you're like, okay, I'm not running around anymore. I got a horse. I can move around. But you can also upgrade your horses. It moves a little faster. And the really cool thing is that every single Mustang, all 6 of them in here, they all have a unique name. So it's like, oh, gives a little flavor now. Instead of just a plain old Mustang, I got Dancer or Traveler or Pilgrim.
Now they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
But you can just for the story aspect of the game, that is a big part, is the story, because there's story cards here. There's that adds some flavor. All of your character cards have story on the back. Also, the minis don't 100% match the characters and stuff, so you can kind of mix and match. You can take whatever mini you want and put your color base on it and say, oh, well, Bass Reeves was a woman in my version of it. I mean, yeah, you just take, it's supposed to be you are, writing your own stories. It's kind of like in the Star Wars, the Rebellion game. What was that called? Was it Rebellion? The 2-player one? Or War of the Ring? But the idea of those ones is you can take Lord of the Rings, you can take Star Wars, and you can rewrite your own stories. You can say, Princess Leia captured Obi-Wan, or whatever. You know what I mean?
The story cards definitely help kind of drive along the game if you have no idea of what you want to do. You do have 3 little cards that you're dealt at the beginning. They're kind of your objectives, which you can do those.
Well, these are this is like a mini expansion. You don't have to do this.
Yeah, so you don't have to do this. But the story cards are always in here to help drive as well. And there'll be different things that try and gain 2 of the legendary points in one turn, or spend $80 in one action. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go either buy some stuff from the general store, spend a bunch of money, or, go to the cabaret and spend a bunch of money.
And they do have a little bit of a cost, because a lot of them have that discard a poker card.
Oh, yeah, with your objective cards.
Oh, crap. Yeah, you were talking about those. Oops. Whoopsies.
But once you complete one of those, you'll put one of your discs on there, and then once a second disc is put on there, and a 2 through 4 player game, or a third disc in a 5 and 6 player game, will trigger it, and it's a unique little story that happens on the back, and usually the two or three people that contributed get something. Usually it'll respawn some bandits on the board if there's an empty spot for them. And it just gives a little bit of a bonus for you helping you push the story along. They aren't that unique on the top. Like, there's a lot of the same thing. It's like, spend $80, do the 2 points.
Spend
like
$80 again.
Back to back $80.
Gain 2 LP, gain 2 LP.
But the backs of them are all unique, which is cool. So there's a ton of story. There's a ton of... You don't know what's going to happen. You're like, oh, I know what's going to happen if I... Like, it's, you know...
It's not like this is the $80 one, so on the back of the $80 ones it says this. Yeah, so it is nice that the backs are all unique. I do wish that they had some more variety in the actual story, what you had to do to place the disc there. You are kind of limited to the board. You know, there's only so many things you can do to place a disc there. But we are just talking about the base game. There are currently 2 expansions that are out that I think do add more characters and stuff. Once we get our hands on those, we'll definitely do our thoughts on those. But right now, we're just talking about the base game. And, you know, I'd like to see some more story cards. Come on, guys.
So pulling back to some design features that I thought were really interesting and really nice and, like, added to the game is that your player boards, they're really well designed. You have a spot that you put your character card. You have a spot for your active weapon and your active mount. So there are 2 mounts there that you can get, so you can kind of switch between them if you're going mining and you want your mule, or you just want to run around on your horse. There's slots for your items. There's a little thing at the bottom where you can put all 4 of your gold that you can hold. So there's like little X's where you put the gold, and then a little spot to hold your money. And it nicely says, hey, max of $120, because it ain't safe to have more than that much money on in the Old West. And then one of the last thing is that it has a little marker where you put your health, and as you take damage, you can only hold so many cards. And at the end of the game, you lose points if you're hurt.
And if you look at because the top row on the wound track here, the top row says how much your maximum hand size is, and the bottom is both how many cards your maximum hand size is less and how many points you lose at the end of the game. It's pretty cool.
So as you get wounded, you're like, losing cards, I'm going to be losing points. I need to go heal up. I need to go to that medic over there and pay some money and heal these wounds. Having a little general store thing like this is really cool because it keeps everything really organized. It fits in the box like Tom just said. You can't beat that.
I probably would glue it though. Because sometimes these cards can slide out from the bottom here like that.
You push down.
Well, like when it's in the box, because you put it in the box like this. So I've opened this up and had them all out.
Never mind. I take it back. This is horrible.
It's garbage. Throw it away. Light it on fire.
My one complaint is that you can earn money anywhere. You can just take it. You can just do a job. If you're in any city space, you can earn $10. But going and getting cows, it's like this tradition. It's a hard thing to do, but it doesn't earn you that much. Like, you have to take this cow from one side of the board all the way to the other, and you get the thing on the back, which is usually not that much. It's like, oh, you get an additional marshal point, or you get $10 more, and it's just like, okay, but you can only carry one cow at a time. So I'm like, you should be able to wrangle up like 2 or 3 cows at least.
Yeah, it seems like wrangling cows, either those tokens should be a lot more powerful, or you should be able to hold more than one, or you should just tell everybody, hey, look,
it's delivering just a little side quest.
It's not a way to get points. It's just if you're there, sure, grab a cattle. The only complaint I'm gonna have about component quality is actually the player aids. Mm-hmm. I'm very glad that they have these.
Oh, what? Sorry.
What?
You don't want aids.
I'm really glad we have these, and they're very helpful. The information that's on there, but I don't know if it's getting too washed out here. It's really this paper. This is really thin
paper.
This is like magazine page, and there's no flair to it, no color. It's just white. There's a little bit of color right here and there, but they could have made this a little bit nicer.
If they're thick, like the player boards, is what your complaint is.
Yeah, I would have wanted them thick and maybe a little bit color, maybe a little pizzazz, instead of just a sheet of text. This is going to turn someone off. If I'm trying to introduce somebody to a game, I say, here's your sheet of text. They're going to go, oh, what am I, in school?
Welcome to the Mormon Church. So Western Legends is one of those games that I really enjoy playing because it has that storytelling element that also mixes in with like a sandboxy, we could be here forever playing if we really want to kind of feel. You can do, like we said, anything. It's like a point salad of things to do. You can if you just want to be the miner and just go mine gold, sell it, mine gold, sell it, you can do that. I mean, it might not be as fun as going and taking out all the bandits and,
heisting at the bank and playing poker.
Yeah,
getting drunk at the bar.
There's so many things to do and so much fun to have. Like, I don't know, it definitely has as close as I can picture Red Dead Redemption being in a board game, and I love Red Dead Redemption, and that's why I'm playing the heck out of Red Dead Redemption 2 right now. And if you're in between, or you just I don't know, get this game if you like Red Dead, if you like Western themed games, if you like point salad type of games, if you like running around shooting each other or just playing poker. Like, you can just play poker the entire time. Everybody's just like, okay, ante in, ante up. Like, it's fun.
It's the one hand poker. There's no, because some of the people I'm playing with, they play poker a lot, and they were like, so that's the flop. Where's the
river? Where's the
turn? The flop, turn, river.
Yeah,
where's the turn? I'm like, that's it. They're like, that's it? I was like, okay, let me paraphrase. You play poker here, okay? I mean, the hands are still the same. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. Had so much fun. I do have those few complaints are that, when you sit down, you got to kind of tell people, hey, want to track is, like, not only these are the things you can do, but they're designed in this way to push you this way. Well, let me just tell you, the want to track, you can get a lot of points there, but if somebody does that, somebody else can come and arrest you. Hey, you can get a lot of gold. You can get a lot of points by mining gold. But hey, you can rob somebody and take their gold. Like, you kind of have to layer that into the explanation. And I do like the other thing is the game is a little bit long. Like, again, that 15-point game can still be pretty long because you can go 15, 20, or 25. And I want to do a longer game. I don't know if I'll ever have time for that.
But an extra hour or two to the game.
Yeah, I know. I want to do that because I want. I just got 4 points in one turn to not be that big a deal and really see what that's like. But I do really like how it's, like you said, story-based and go anywhere, do whatever you want, but it's still very points-driven. We're not just making a fun story and everybody's happy and, ooh, let's see what that is. Let's explore. Let's flip this tile over. It's still like, no. We're going to do whatever we want, but we're getting points. It's like it's the most Americanized version of a point salad Euro that I've ever seen. And if any of that sounds interesting to you, we're going to put a purchase link to this game in the description box down below. Go grab yourself a copy.
While you're down there, subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
I'm gone. Howdy, nerds. I'm Tom.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm a little upset at my pal here, Aaron, because he's not even wearing his Colossal Games t-shirt. What's all about that, bro?
I was going for the Western look. Wait a second. I should have got pop buttons. Way quicker.
You look like an idiot. Oh, man, he's taking it off. Oh, yeah. Well, we're just cool people, aren't we?
Should we do it again?